Hello everyone, Donna here from Reconnecting Readings, and today I am doing a focused reading on the Mother Energy within. This is the usual pick a card reading, so when you get a chance, go ahead and take a moment, take a deep breath, focus on the three piles of cards in front of you, and try to get a sense for which one is calling to you or you're feeling drawn to. Group 1, Group 2, or Group 3. And once you know, you can go ahead and check the description box below or the pinned comment that'll have the timestamp so that you know which one to go to. So again, take a moment, take a deep breath, focus on the cards in front of you, and see which ones you feel is calling you or you're feeling drawn to choose. Group 1, Group 2, or Group 3. Let's begin. All right, Group 1. We are starting with the card Our Lady of Peaceful Change. I feel as though this is not validation of the type of changes you've been experiencing. I feel like overall you have been experiencing less than peaceful change. I feel an overall sense of chaos and feeling a bit like the dynamics of your life has been changed or altered drastically. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just been a lot all at once. And in this particular image, she's holding a baby, and I feel that it's fairly reminiscent of a birth of something new. It doesn't necessarily have to be a new baby. It could be, but sometimes we birth new ideas or new concepts, and the process is in and of itself can be laborious, but also even when we are nurturing it to help it to grow in those early stages, it takes a lot of energy. And I feel that this is something that you are focusing on and you have been experiencing, but the amount of struggle that you have been experiencing up to this point, you're going to experience a bit of a shift and you're going to feel a bit of peace. I'm not saying that it's going to be something that's going to be smooth suddenly, but there's going to be a sense of validation that you are on the right track. The nurturing that you have been giving this item, this focus, this goal that you have been nurturing in the last couple weeks. It feels like it's been a long time coming. You're going to feel a sense of peace and awe and adoration for the growth that you're going to see. And it's going to be a bit of a validation. So there's a bit of nurturing that's happening. You are mothering something in particular or something specific. And I feel like there's quite a lot of you that this is in direct relation to something that is business oriented. It doesn't feel so much career. So when I say career, I'm thinking of someone who is already hired by another person or employed or subcontracted by another person. This feels more of a business as in a self-employment setup, but you have been nurturing something. You've given birth and have been nurturing something, and it has been draining you, much like a new mom would experience with a new baby, a new child, and the dynamic shifts that happen when that sort of new child comes home. That's kind of what you have been going through, but you're going to be experiencing soon a peace that comes with knowing that you've made the right choice, you've done the right thing, and this new addition to your life that you have been nurturing is something that you can feel just validated in and take comfort in knowing that this has been all worth the long nights that you've been, awake restlessly and anxious over trying to make sure that things are going to go in the right direction. But in the process of it all, and there's another message that's coming through that's telling you that while you have been nurturing this new thing that you have been focusing on, you have been not nurturing yourself adequately. You have not been meeting your own needs. You have not been mothering yourself. You have not been giving yourself the TLC, the tender loving care that you need. And so you need to take the time in the coming weeks. And I feel like the next week is very, very prominent in that mindset. You need to take the time to mother yourself. Do what it takes to nurture yourself. This is not just a spiritual thing. This is a physical thing. I feel like there's a bit of a draining that has happened as new moms usually experience. You have been experiencing that. And you're being told that you need to take those times of rest. When there is a moment of pause, when there is a moment of quiet, instead of trying to find new things to do, instead of trying to find new angles to approach, instead of trying to get other things done that you couldn't get done when you were focusing on the baby of the situation, you should be taking that time to rest, nap, take a bath, take a shower, read a book, take time away from social media and let your brain relax, watch a good comedy, journal something. Journaling not so much unless you're going to keep it in a means of gratitude and, sort of finding ways to nurture. No shadow work if you're journaling, if that's your option. No shadow work with that. It's supposed to be something that is replenishing yourself. This is the focus. You need to allow that mother within to turn focus on you within and nurture yourself, not just internally, but also physically. And the physical aspect seems to be quite prominent in that message. So make sure you're doing what you need to do to take care of yourself. Mother your body, mother your brain, mother your mind. Give it a rest that it needs. We have the Chariot. And right away, I feel like I'm being told that you are focused on having complete control of the reins. You really feel like you cannot relax. You feel like you cannot let loose of the reins even a little bit. You don't even, I know there's no horses in this particular image, but when we think of a chariot, usually it's pulled by horses, and you can't even trust the horse to know the way. And with the horse in this particular idea or concept, it would be your inner guide, your higher self, your spirit guides, your deity, your ancestors, whatever it is that you connect with to guide you. For whatever reason, you know what they're telling you, you receive what they're telling you, you accept that what you know about this to be true, you just can't trust it wholeheartedly. You still keep a good firm grip on the reins and you're being told to let go. And I feel that this is referencing back to that needing to take time to focus on mothering yourself, taking your time to take the nap when you need the nap, take a bath when you need a bath, not waiting so long in between times of self-care. Not waiting so long in between the times that you mother yourself. This is a key point for you in this particular reading. You need to nurture yourself. You need to be your own mother. You need to give yourself a little tough love and tell yourself it can wait a little bit, to loosen the reins and to relax and to rest. And like I said, the physical aspect seems to be a big portion of this. We also have the 5 of Cups and the 5 of Swords. So it's pivotal. Right away, I'm getting a kind of focusing in on the fact that there are 5s in both of those cards. And so you're at a pivotal point right now. It's sort of the climax or the peak. You've made it to the top of the mountain and you're ready to go to the other side, go down the other side to get to that place, that point of reference that was on the other side. The reason why you climbed the mountain in the first place. It wasn't just to reach the top. It was because there was something on the other side of the mountain range that you were going for. So you're at a pivotal point. You're at a point where you've reached a climax and you're ready to descend. You're ready to go the other way, the other direction. So that's the biggest thing that I'm getting from the 5, but also with both of the 5 of Cups and the 5 of Swords, there's a bit of, kind of a bit of a longing or sadness. You know, we see the drops and I feel like those represent tears for whatever reason. I'm being told tears, not raindrops. And the 5 of Swords, there's just a little bit of a drawing in that energy that's coming with that. And I feel like this is just referencing, if you don't take the time for yourself, you're going to crash in a way. You're going to reach a point where you're gonna miss your footing as you descend that mountain range, to refer back to that analogy that I was already working with. You need to make sure that you do what it takes to nurture yourself so that you are not overwhelmed when you reach that climax, so that you can be at that climatic point in this event that you have been nurturing and working with for so long, that you are overwhelmed and miss the celebration of being at the climatic point, and miss the opportunities that will come because you're too fatigued, or you're too busy holding onto the reins, and you don't realize that there was something else in front of you that you needed to pick up along the way. So I just feel, like I said, the 5s is what stands out the most. It is the most poignant thing that's standing out to me. So the idea that you're at a very pivotal point is important, as well as the fact that you need to loosen the reins. You need to trust your knowing, your intuition, and rely on the guidance that you have already got. Know that what you know is true, that what you have intuitively been guided and advised is as solid as you have always believed it to, and just now kind of rest in that foundation. Rest in the foundation that what you know is true. We have I am unique. I have 2 I am power cards. So I feel like these are for there's 2 sets of people who are watching this. And some of you need to be reminded that you are unique. What you have is enough. You don't need to seek external validation for whatever project this is, whatever it is that you have been nurturing, that has made it so that you haven't been nurturing your body because you've been so focused on it. You don't need external validation. You are unique. You have everything that you need, that you think that you need to be seeking elsewhere to kind of let you know that you're on the right track. You've been guided. You know that you have enough. You know that what you have to offer is unique. You know what you have to offer is exactly what you have been led to believe is true. It's all true. You are unique in your own individuality, and just rest assured in that. And we also have I am vibrant, and I feel like this also kind of ties in this about being unique. You have what it takes. Your frequency will draw in whatever it is that you need. And if it's not drawing in what you need to change that frequency and look at it. Is the frequency that you're putting out is one of the reasons why it's not pulling in or drawing in what you seek. Is it because you've been too fatigued? Is it because you haven't rested and nurtured and mothered yourself? All in all, I just feel that the overall message is that you are at a pivotal point. You need to relax a little bit so that you can rest. And the mothering within needs to mother you, not the project. You physically need to rest and relax. Rely on the fact that you are vibrant, or you're unique, both, and rely on the fact that you are at a climatic point, but also know that the guides that have been guiding you up to this point, they've told you what you need to know. You'll follow through accordingly, and you can trust the process and rest. Nurture yourself, mother yourself. All right, that is all I have for you for group number 1. I hope that you found this nurturing and everything that you were hoping for and more, and hopefully I will see you in a future video. All right, group number 2, we are starting out with Our Lady of Divine Direction. I feel like this is basically telling you that you need to turn to that divine guidance, whether you have one already or you have been considering it, or even if you haven't considered it, this is sort of a sign that you need to connect with the divine. And because of mothering, I want to say divine feminine, but it doesn't have to be specifically divine feminine. It can be a deity or a source of divine connection that has a motherly context or construct or character to it. So it could be a specific spirit guide that you already work with, or you've considered working with, or it could even be an ancestor, and it doesn't even have to be a female ancestor. It could actually be someone that is a male, but that you felt played a role as in mothering you. Whatever it is, you need to seek that out. You need to find that connection. You need to hone it. You need to nurture it, because it will in turn nurture you. This is something that you have been needing on an unconscious unconscious level, subconscious level, but I feel like the reason why you are here, you are watching this video, and why you have picked this particular group, it's probably because it's also on a conscious level. You have been looking for something, considering that you want a connection or you want to deepen a connection, and this is letting you know that you need to connect with a divine connection, a divine source. And because this is a mother energy reading, I feel that it is something linked with mother energy in some facet. So however that applies to you, that is up to your interpretation, but that is the message that I'm getting specifically, directly with this particular card. We have Wheel of Fortune next, and I feel this is basically tapping into that has to do with timing. And unfortunately, I feel like this is kind of reiterating something that you may have already received in previous messages regarding things having a season and taking time. And the frustrating part about this is that it just feels like the timing in the season is taking forever. It has the energy of a winter that just doesn't seem to want to end. That energy of a winter where you feel like spring should be around the corner and you get one more snowfall. And then you think, okay, now spring's definitely coming and you get one more snowfall. It just feels like, the season's coming to an end. You know that it's natural and organic and it's unfolding as it's supposed to, but it just seems so frustratingly long that it's hard to not get slightly irritated and overwhelmed, if not feeling a bit just getting the blues as a result of it, for lack of a better term. But I'm just reminding you that everything has its season, everything has a time, including this issue or circumstances that you are dealing with that makes you, or had you kind of seeking particularly some sort of connection that was going to nurture you. The timing is still right on par. It's right where it's supposed to. It's unfolding as it's supposed to. You are correct in feeling that it's long, but it is what it is. Nature is what it is. The night's as long as it is, no matter what. Winter is as long as it is, as far as nature allows it to unfold. And that's sort of the situation that you are dealing with right now. It's unfolding as it's supposed to, and it's frustrating, yes. And that's why you're supposed to be seeking that divine feminine direction, nurturing something that can nurture you, something that you can connect with so that you can be nurtured by it. And it can even be your higher self. Like I said, however that applies to you, this is just basically letting you know you need to reach out. You need to connect. You need to make that connection so that you can find nurturing while you wait for this long season to finally come to a close and transition to the next season. We have the Devil card, and whenever I see this card or hear this card, my go-to phrase is always the devil is in the details. And that was the first thing that came to me again with this. So whatever it is that's happening, whatever's going on, whatever is taking forever, frustratingly long to kind of come to a close, to go to the other season, to transition, the devil is in the details. It's just one of those things where I feel like it's kind of like having a 10,000 piece puzzle. It's just going to take forever. It took forever to, if you had a puzzle that was that large or larger, it takes forever to pick out all of the pieces and to find the border, the edge pieces, and then put those all together. And then to find all the pieces that might go into the portion that has a specific color, and then find the other pieces that have a different color. And it just takes time, the details, and just organizing everything before you can even bring it all together. That is the sort of energy that I'm getting from this, but it's all going to be worth it in the end, as long as you don't get too bound up in it, as long as you don't get too wrapped up in it, as long as you don't allow it to become chains that hold you down. You need to look at it from a perspective as just the next step, even though it feels tedious, just keeps coming to mind. Just know that it's all going to come around in the end. All the puzzle pieces will eventually fit together. It just takes time to organize them and kind of find all of the ones that group as they're supposed to group before you can put all of them together. And even then, putting them all together, it takes time, because it's it's just tedious work. There's that word again. So the devil is in the details, and this is all kind of, validating where I've already come as far as this message is concerned. And I feel like it's going back to that concept of connecting with that divine motherly energy, whatever it is that you connect with or you feel the need to connect with. This is something you need to be seeking out. If you feel like you're overwhelmed and you need to connect with something beyond yourself, this is what you need. You need to find a divine motherly source that will nurture you while you are dealing with these details and working through this particular puzzle piece of your life. In the end, though, justice will be seen. Things will be balanced out correctly as they're supposed to. Now, the justice card is always kind of tricky. Sometimes our view of justice isn't always the view of justice in nature. And in this particular image, you see that the balance is not, it's kind of skewed. So if you notice, this particular bird on this side actually seems like it's heavier in the sense that the balance is tipped in that direction. But weirdly enough, this particular bird actually has the fish in the mouth. So you would think that the weight would actually be in this side's favor. So I think that's just basically, it just feels like it's reiterating that sense or that idea that sometimes justice served isn't always like we think that it should be. And I think this is a message. This feels like this is a message. I'm being told that this is a message for you to realize that whatever it is that you have in your mind that's going to equal justice and balance it out, however karma is supposed to be fulfilled in your mindset, whatever narrative that fits that, you're being told to be mindful that sometimes the way nature and the universe perceives justice doesn't always match and in the same sense of balance that we perceive from our perspective, because we don't always have the full picture, not only the full picture of all the details that lead up to whatever it is that justice is, but we also don't have the full picture as far as after the events. We don't see things that might happen later on that might be result of the justice that was served. We don't always see the end results. And if it's not something that affects us in a specific way, if we can walk away, it shouldn't weigh on us too heavily. So if it's not something that impacts us directly, or if we can still, if the justice is served, even if it's not tipped in the way that we thought it was supposed to, if the way that it does tip, it still allows us to leave unscathed, it's our job to just let that go, if that makes sense. But through it all, I really do feel that there's an overall message of connecting to understand and to have a source of healing and a source of nurturing as you're going through this. Even when we get to that point where we don't understand why that justice was served the way that it was served, like I said, the universe has a broader perspective. The divine has a broader perspective of insight in the events, not only leading up to justice, but also in the delivery of justice, but also afterwards. There are often events that occur afterwards that we are often not aware of, that are a further fulfillment of justice that we may never see or perceive, but it still happens. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that you understand what I was saying there. I am helpful. I get a sense that there's an overall sense of helplessness. So whatever is going on, and this is going back to that, connecting with that divine mother energy for nurturing. So this occurrence that's happening is leaving you feel like you don't have any power, like your power has been taken from you. And I'm not saying completely or totally, but at least in this event, there's a bit of helplessness feeling that's coming with this. And this is denying that. You are not helpless. Sometimes the circumstances are something that you're not meant to be helping in, but you can find other ways or other angles or other perceptions that you can help that may not be in direct alignment specifically, but because of the event that happened, you become helpful in other ways, and you just have to allow that to unfold as it's supposed to. Sometimes these events just allow us to see something that needs to be done, and we see a need and we're able to meet it. But if you're fixated on a specific way that you think that you need to be helping, but it's something that's out of your control, you might miss the open opportunity to help that's presenting itself. So you're not helpless. There is an avenue of being helpful. It's just from a different angle than what you're looking at. So the specifics of how you feel that you can't help, you're not supposed to be focusing on that specifically, because that's not your job. That's not your goal in life. That's not why you're here. But you can help. If the situation, it leaves you feeling like you should be helping in some way, there's another way that you can help. There are other means of opportunities that can be inspired by this situation that allows you to be able to help in a different way, help in I feel like this has to do with, for some of you, it has to do with being an activist. So however that applies, it's available to you. You just have to find that angle that's specific to the tools that you already have. I am resourceful. It's interesting that I just said specific to the tools that you already have, because now we have the word resourceful. And I feel this is validating what I just said about how you have what it takes to help in the situation. It's just it's almost like being a carpenter going to a plumbing job. You can help in the household issues, but if you have a hammer, you can't work with the plumbing. You need to help where there's hammering need to be done. That's kind of a summary of what I've been trying to say. So I hope that makes sense. So you have the resources that you need, that you have experience in, that you have what it takes to be able to be helpful in, and you need to be focusing on being helpful, however that applies, from a position where you already have the resources within you to help with. So hopefully that makes sense. All in all, in this whole process, for guidance and for nurturing to help you as you work and deal with all of this, take the time to find a motherly divine connection that you can work with and connect with, that can help you find ways of nurturing yourself, whether it's through the connection or just finding other ways through the connection, guiding you to self-nurturing, whatever it may be. But this is definitely a moment in time where that can help you to move forward and help you as you go through this event that you are dealing with, connecting with a divine feminine or a divine, just however that applies to you. All right, that is all I have for you, group number 2. I hope that you found everything you desired and more in this reading, and hopefully I will see you in a future one. All right, group number 3, we have right off the bat, Our Lady of Creative Choice. I feel like this is speaking directly to finding ways of nurturing parts of yourself that you have been working with, as far as whether it's shadow work or inner child work or just trying to heal aspects of yourself. You're being asked to find creative ways to do this. And this isn't just a reference of being creative in how you do it, but also more specifically being creative directly. Pick up the paints, or pick up a pencil and draw, or pick up a camera and take photographs, or find a way to make collages, whatever it is. But really tap into being actually creative, writing a story, a short story, or writing a poem, whatever it is. Tapping into creativity as a means of therapy is a way that you can find that channel of healing that you have been working with or looking for nurturing and healing those aspects of yourself that you have been digging deep and sort of diving to heal. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's shadow work or if it's inner child work or just trying to find means or channels of healing, but being creative is an angle or a focus that you can begin with. We have the Empress card next, and this is just really tapping into mother energy, and I feel like this is specifically saying some of you need to call your moms, or that person in your life who was a mother figure, who was someone who nurtured you like a mother, who was there for you like a mother. You're just being told to reach out and talk to them, have a conversation. You don't have to unload to them. You don't have to tell them what you're going through unless you feel that this is a means of support. But this isn't the only reason why you should call your mom or your mother figure in your life. It's just a means of connection. Sometimes, especially recently, this whole concept of isolation has been so hard on us, being social beings, being people who we need to have communication, conversation, and we need to sit in front of somebody. We need to hug and we need to touch people. It's been particularly hard. And if this is something that you are experiencing, reach out to that person who has been a mother figure, someone who has been nurturing to you throughout your life or specific moments in your life. Just have a friendly conversation with them. Just connect with them. Like I said, you can just connect over coffee if you're allowed to in your area, or you can just have a conversation, a real conversation on the phone, not texting. Get down and gritty in the conversation about everyday life. Like I said, you don't have to go in deep about whatever it is that you've been dealing with. This can just be a casual, hey, I want to reconnect with you sort of energy, but you are being told that part of this process of nurturing yourself, you're going to find some healing and cutting or breaking out of that isolation and connecting with someone who nurtures you on an emotional level. And like I said, you do not have to have a deep conversation with them about what you're going through. This can just be a casual catch up, friendly, just being out of isolation and connecting with another human being. But you're being called to call somebody that you find nurtures you here on this plane. We have the King of Swords and the Ace of Swords. So both platforms of the sword suit from beginning to end. And swords has to do with communications in any and every facet of communication, however you may think of it. But I am getting off the bat that the communication that this swords is referencing is communication with self. Those communications that we have, those conversations that we have in our heads. This is what it is referencing. And you have run the gamut from the beginning to the end and back again. And you've gone through that cycle from beginning to end. And you need to lay it to rest. There's nothing wrong with reviewing whatever it is that you have been reviewing, but you're fatiguing yourself, and you need to allow yourself, if at the very least, go from the beginning to the end, but then take reign over the kingdom of your mind regarding the situation, and like a king, decree whatever it is that you need to decree in your mind so that you can release this or take hold or control or be in charge of it. Either banish it from the kingdom of your mind or make a decree as far as how it's supposed to be viewed or seen, and then have that stamped with your mental king stamp, and then that's final. That is what it is. But there's that's a comical little analogy, but I feel like it's the most fitting for whatever it is that's been happening. Like I said, it just kind of feels like it's been running the gamut from the beginning to the end and then back again. And it's just been this cycle around and around and around, and it's not really coming to any sort of conclusion. You're not feeling any better or any resolved or have any more closure as a result of going from the beginning to the end and back again. So you just need to, at the very least, if you go through it again, go through it with the mindset that you are going to end up as the reigning king of the situation, and do what it takes to make sure that in your mind, as you go through this, that you are the reigning king over the situation in your mind. And banish it, or make a decree, or both. Make a decree and banish it, but do what it takes to make sure that you sit on the throne of your thoughts regarding this, and not allow it to reign over you, not allow it to control perceptions of yourself. I am. I feel like this is very, very heavily linked with this particular card. You are what you think that you are. And if you keep going through this rotation that you have been going through, and you allow yourself to skip over being king and go back to ace, then that is what you are. But if you allow yourself to perceive yourself as the king in your head, the reigning supreme in your head, then that is what you are. And it sounds so cliche to say we are our thoughts, but I feel this is really tapping into that. Our thoughts create a certain sort of frequency, and this rotation that you have been going through in your mind is creating a frequency that's allowing this to kind of build almost like a funnel, and it just keeps going around and round and round. And I just get an idea of like a, you know, a water spout or a dirt. Like we always call them dirt devils. That's almost applicable, isn't it? But I just experience, and that's what I'm getting the sense of, and that is what you're becoming. And you need to become the one who reigns over your thoughts, the one who is in control, the one who is governing versus it governing you, so that you can be what you need to be versus what your thoughts leave you to be when you keep visiting this situation or this cycle. And finally, we have I am hope. And ultimately, if you want the change, if you want to change the perception that you have regarding the situation of yourself, you can do that. Again, like I said, you need to just focus in and find a way. And I really think that the key is breaking out of the isolation, however that applies to you. It doesn't have to be specific. It could be just an application to this, but you need to break out of that isolation, and you need to connect with someone who nurtures you and allows you to be, to see yourself as the being of potential and beauty that you are, the creativity that you are, and find that means of therapy through art that you need to break the cycle, so that you can change that I am to whatever it is that you need to be. But it's the potential's there. It's definitely something that will need you to be specific in your focus, so that you can be in control. But like I said before, the keys are tapping into a source of art for therapy to kind of break this cycle, as well as breaking out of isolation and connecting with that mother figure, and seeing yourself through that person's eyes, seeing yourself through that person and the love that they have for you, and recognizing that love just in general, so that you can provide it for yourself. All right, that is all I have for you, group number 3. I hope this reading gave you everything that you would hope for and more, and hopefully I will see you in a future video.